This is the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Ever wish you could re-listen to your favorite interview or segment? Do you enjoy hearing older shows for the first time in years? Then the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less is just what you need. Thanks for listening and enjoy the show.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less. Today's show is being brought to you by Crawford's Barbecue. Crawford's Barbecue is bringing great barbecue products to pitmasters and kings of the cul-de-sac alike. Find out more, head over to crawfordsbbq.com. Today's show is a doubleheader pulled from January 12, 2010. Both segments are Greg visiting with Dave Bouska from Butcher's BBQ. Let's get to it. Here's Dave and Greg from January 12th, 2010.
All right, as promised, joining me now to talk about a topic that I have really wanted to talk about here for some time now. Finally got him on, competition barbecuer and purveyor of barbecue injections, David Bouska from Butcher BBQ. David, thanks for coming on tonight. How are you?
Hello, Greg. Thanks a lot. Thanks for letting me come on and talk a little injections.
Hey, it's certainly my pleasure, and I appreciate you taking time out to do it again. Kind of remiss that I haven't really been on this subject before, but before we kind of get into that and the ins and outs of injections, why don't you give us a little background about yourself and kind of how you got introduced to barbecue, maybe as a kid or an adolescent, and then how that progressed into the competition side of things.
Well, I have been in the meat business for 28 years. That's something that I've done ever since I was 15 years old. We own a small meat processing plant. My wife and I run a miniature horse farm, and I have a little history with business. We've sold or wholesale, or I've done retail for, like I said, 28 years. I sat on the board of directors for the Oklahoma and Texas Meat Processors Association. I also own sit on our town board. And as far as barbecuing, it was a few years, which we've always done a lot of cooking, but a few years ago, I was flipping through a little magazine we have locally, and I seen a KCBS contest in Enid, Oklahoma, and I said, well, I've seen that on TV. I'd sure like to go watch that. Well, I got to looking it up on the website and seen that there was, there's a lot of these around here. And we bought an FEC cooker, and we've been cooking ever since.
So how many years ago was that? Was that 2, 3, 4 years ago, or even longer than that?
It's been 4 years. We've been competitively cooking for 4 years.
Wow, and obviously in those 4 years, doing very well year after year. Last year, finishing 7th overall in the Kansas City Barbecue Society, one of the more hotly contested Team of the Year races there in recent memory. Kind of looking back on that year, how did you feel about your performance, and did you find it as exciting as everybody else seemed to?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was really a lot of fun. I got to do some traveling. Met a lot of people I probably would never meet on a regular basis. We flew to Arizona and was out there when all that went down, and we've been lucky enough to go cook at the Jack Daniels. We've cooked at the American Royal, just all over. We've cooked Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas, Texas. And as far as people we've met, I really believe that you're not going to find a tighter niche group of people, contrary to some of the latest shows that's on TV.
I have no idea what you're talking about, David, but that's right. We're talking with David Bouska.
No one does.
Exactly. This is David Bouska from Butcher BBQ and competition team and the injection company side. Let's go ahead and get into that a little bit. We'll talk injections here. How do you actually, you're obviously in the meat business there with your processing plant sitting on a few meat boards and whatnot, but how does the idea to get into the injection business come to you, and how do you start?
I originally took a cooking class by Fast Eddie up in Cook Shack in Ponca City, and he was injecting, and I realized right quick that is not much more different than what we've been doing for years in the meat business. With trying to become a pitmaster, I took the knowledge I had in the meat business, like I said, been in it 28 years, so I had a lot of knowledge from pumping hams and bacon and making all different types of sausage. And I just instilled that in a mix, and it took me 8-9 months of playing and testing and cooking, burning a lot of meat, throwing a lot away. We did a whole year's worth of competition that I never even let anybody knew what I was doing. I would tweak it here, tweak it there, change it. We'd come up with a new flavor. We'd try it. And it's just something that has been there, and I just wanted to keep pushing it. We've done everything from injecting it to vacuum tumbling it to marinating with it, which is all three completely different methods of getting the flavor and the moisture within the large muscles of meat. So,
and was it that time frame to come up with all your products, or is that just one at a time?
That was just one. That was nothing but the beef product. We tinkered with the beef for that long. Over the wintertime, we started playing with a pork product, and right at the first of the year, the raw products, being it's just a commodity, it went up about 30% in cost. So I said, okay, before I released my pork product, I reformulated it, started cooking with it the first of that next year. I liked the way it still was coming out, and we just came out with a pork the next year.
And do you have a chicken injection or some type of chicken marinade as well, or is it just beef and pork?
Well, we concentrate on beef and pork. I don't have a chicken product per se. We do market a phosphate product that we believe is as good as any one thing out there. The phosphate that we market is classified to cold phosphate. It can be mixed in cold or warm water. Phosphate is a product, all it does is adhere water molecules to muscle texture and muscle fibers. And by doing so, we're able to add flavors in the water that you can get to stick inside of meat.
It's very interesting stuff. We're talking with David Bouska from Butcher BBQ. Now, for the folks that maybe have never injected or have thought about it, never done it, and of course, rules of the show, no names, please. Why not list out some general reasons on why someone would want to go ahead and consider injecting, and kind of to piggyback on that, would you recommend it really only for competition stuff, or is it okay for the backyard warrior like myself and a few other people to kind of take a look at that?
Oh, no, I would recommend it for any aspect of cooking. The purpose of injecting is moisture and flavor. If you like great moisture and great flavor in your product, why not do it at the backyard too? Let's say something else that can be used for, and we've done it around the house here, and I think it adds a great taste, is we've taken the beef product and we'll weaken it down compared to what we would do in competition, and we've sauteed mushrooms in it, and what a wonderful steakhouse flavor it gives. You can do that with vegetables, grill them out on the grill, and heck, there's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of barbecue rub and putting it on some popcorn.
Yep, done that. I've heard some people put it on ice cream too, my friend.
Okay.
Yeah, little salt, little heat, and get the little ice cream sweetness going. You never know. It's always good to try certain different things on other stuff. But in any event, again, we're talking with David Bouska here from Butcher BBQ. Without sharing, any trade secrets, because we certainly don't want to do that. But what's in the rubs that kind of makes them work, and what are the kind of the main ingredients and the innards of injections that really help the product become enhanced and be better tasting, better looking, and all that good stuff?
Well, our main ingredient is hydrolyzed vegetable protein. That's listed right on every package. The main thing that it, like I said, does is as dense as the big meats, what we call briskets, the pork butts. It's hard to get the flavor deep down inside it in the limited amount of time that you have at a competition. So this allows this to get right into it. I know a lot of folks that instill rub within the product that add all the different flavors. And I really am a firm believer in just keeping it simple, because the trick to good competition barbecue is being able to repeat it time and time again.
To put in your request for a future show, please contact John Solberg via email at johnjon@thebbqcentralshow.com.
Hey, before we get into the second segment, let me take a minute to tell you about Crawford's Barbecue Pit Spritz. Pit Spritz is all natural and gluten-free. Pit Spritz keeps your meat super moist during the cooking process. The Peach Pit Spritz adds an amazing sweet peach taste to your barbecue. It's great on all meats, and it does exceptionally well with pork. All you need to do is screw the included trigger sprayer onto the 16-ounce bottle, and you are ready to go. Crawford's Pit Spritz also works great as a wrapping liquid, helping you to bring your barbecue home. Get all the details on Crawford's Pit Spritz over at crawfordsbbq.com. Be sure you use the coupon code GREG at checkout for 10% off your entire order. That's GREG, G-R-E-G.
Because the trick to good competition barbecue is being able to repeat it time and time again. And I hear more often than should be is, I don't remember exactly what we did, but it sure was good. Well, that's part of competition cooking, is being able to repeat it.
That's right. Consistency always key when it comes to competition cooking. I've heard through a number of well-known people out there in the competition world that your product, compared to some of the other ones out there, don't have these, quote, tracking marks, or they don't seem to be as much as an issue. First of all, what's tracking marks, and why doesn't your product seem to run into these same type of issues?
Well, what they're calling a tracking mark is after the product has been cooked, there you can see where the needle went into the meat. And by doing so, it's not real appealing to the judge's eye. It doesn't deter from the flavor. It doesn't make the meat change in texture or anything like that. It's just an ugly-looking mark on the meat. Now, my product versus other products, ours doesn't have a caramel coloring to it. That's what does it a lot of times. And the one thing that is found more than ever that will do it, and that's bacteria. If someone doesn't clean their injection needle with just a warm soapy water and then rinse it out real good, that'll probably do it as much as any one thing.
Always good to know. We're talking with David Bouska here from Butcher BBQ. So if I order, whether it be the pork or the beef injections, what's the process to mix together? And do you recommend using like water or some type of beef broth, or what kind of a liquid are you recommending to mix the mixture with to make that injection?
Well, with the beef product and everything, we use straight water. I like a neutral product. Where we're at right here in the heart of beef country, these folks know what beef should taste like. In other parts of the country, I know a lot of people add beef stock or beef broth. There is a difference in those two. With that being said, I know a lot of people that add some flavors to it that is just really unique to what I would call brisket.
Unique in a good way or a bad way?
Well, they win with it, so I'd say it's a good way.
Okay.
And in the pork, the most heavily used product is probably half water and half juice of some shape, form, or fashion.
Grape juice, I bet, right?
Well, I know folks that use white grape juice. I know folks that use, I prefer peach nectar. I know a lot of folks that use apple juice. There's a lot of different things that you can add, just a subtle sweetness to the meat.
Nice. Now, when you order your product, do you already have to have, as a consumer, do you already have to have some type of injecting unit, or is that something that you get along with the injection mix?
No, you don't have to have it. We do offer one on our website. It's just a 20 mil syringe with an 1.5 inch long needle. You can pick them up at just about any agricultural supply store. That's what we do, and we just have it there for right at cost, just to help allow this to be happening. Because I know a lot of people who live in the bigger cities don't have access to that. And we like the small needle. Speaking of that, there's a lot of these big Creole-type injectors out there, and that what they do is they actually rip the muscle apart. Now, what we have to do to keep from sounding too morbid here is that the animal that we're injecting is dead. it will not ever heal back.
Well, let's hope.
If you go in with, yeah, that's a good thing. If you go in and inject this with a large diameter needle, you risk the chance of more of the product leaching back out. So use a real small injection needle and hit it several more times. You will find that you won't have as much come back out, and the product will remain where it needs to be.
So a thinner gauge needle, always better to not tear the muscles like the bigger gauge needles do.
That is absolutely correct.
All right, so not to put you on the spot here and brag and all that good stuff, but certainly there's a number of teams out there that are using your product out on the competition circuit right now. Can you list off a small handful of teams to kind of show the people what you're up against and who's using your product and winning with it on a regular basis?
Well, what I'll do is I'll send you a bag, and I use it, and these are the only two teams that I can guarantee you it's going to use it. No, we don't go around talking a lot about what we do as far as who uses it, who buys it. I've got some top-notch teams, several top-notch teams that's part of the reason they use it is they know that it's kept secret. They don't want the competitors to know. On the other hand, one thing that I really love is Saturday night, all day Sunday, reading the results, getting the text messages, the emails. Hey, I used your product. We placed first. We placed fifth. The highest score we've ever had. That's what it's all about. Is at a certain point you have to give up your part and just start teaching the way of cooking and winning, and it really comes around back to you, and I'm a firm believer in that.
And I think, not to go ahead and brag for you, but on your website, it's listed right up there up front. This year in the American Royal, you took first, well, not you personally, but your injection was in the mix for winning first, second, and third place, respectively, in the brisket round.
Yes, we were second. Cool Smoke with Tuffy, he was third, and Todd with Plowboys was first, and there's some fun stories that can go along with both those guys. We also placed fourth with our pork in the Invitational, and we were third with our pork in the Open. So we were real pleased with this year's American Royal.
Yeah, certainly a good offering and a good showing of what your product can do, and certainly that has something to do with the cooks that are using it as well, but put the two together and you're going to get some great results. We're talking with Dave Bouska, Butcher BBQ. His website's butcherbbq.com. If you want to go ahead and order some up and take a look at what he's got to offer, see some of the other winners that he's got listed there too.
And there you have it, Greg and Dave Bouska from January the 12th, 2010. Tell me that guy will not wind up in the Hall of Fame. Hey, do me a favor. Head over to CrawfordsBBQ.com. Check out their all-natural, gluten-free pit Brits. Until next time on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less, I'm your host, John Solberg, and I do look forward to talking to you again soon.